So, cup action for Wednesday as they welcome Scott Brown's Fleetwood to Hillsborough for the FA Cup 4th round, which has now gone to a replay. A lot of people don't take cup seriously, and I know there is still an attitude of stick kids in, league's main thing, but a good cup run can do wonders for team morale, can't it? Especially after what happened against Newcastle. We saw the feeling that it generated around club. So a chance to progress through to the next round, last 16. Got a ticket when it's there. And Darren Moore, to be fair, he went with a strong side. Darren Moore named a very strong side to face Fleetwood this afternoon, just the two changes. So the back three continued as Palmer, Iorfa and Firmao. Midfield, from right to left, Hunt, Wilks, Dennis Adeniran and Marvin Johnson. Josh Windass in the supporting role. And those two changes, Lee Gregory and Matt Smith dropping out up front to be replaced by Callum Patterson and Malik Wilks. Gregory and Smith rested there. Bit of a surprise about Gregory. Probably our best finisher, and we are trying to get him back up to match sharpness, match fitness. I'd have thought this was a good opportunity to do that, but he's mixed things up. He'd like to have a big lad up there, so Patterson's coming for Smith, who obviously been safe for Plymouth. Probably the surprise is Malik Wilks up there, a winger, scored most of his goals coming in off of the right wing for Hull. But it's about having that balance up top. We know we don't like playing with two big lads, so as soon as Patterson were in there for Smith, it was always going to be somebody else bringing something different to the table alongside him. Now, obviously, they're going to come here and make it an hard game. You know, we've got a bigger budget than them, they've got a smaller squad, it's how it is. So you're expecting it. You're expecting what they're going to come and do. But they really take it to nth degree. And, you're looking at it and it's a performance that you've seen up and down country all through your life, and at every Sunday League Park game you've ever seen, you know. When roughhouse team from Flat Roof Boozer turn up, you know, and they all piling in. 9 out of 11 players with Peaky Blinders haircut, you know what sort of afternoon it's going to be. Horrible. Now teams often, they're the representation, aren't they, on the pitch of their manager, and their manager, he was a wind-up merchant and a bit of an artist when he was playing, you know. So a team very much in his image as a player, leaving a boot in, rolling about, you know, just up short of winking at referee and crowd, but audible game. And some of it's an act, and some players, they get on park and they've got a personality that they project when they are on pitch. So when I were a younger Souness, Roy Keane, players who once they were on pitch, they've got a slightly different side to the personality. They've got that drive and that winning instinct, and they could be nasty bastards, you know. But a large part of that is an act. Vinnie Jones has gone on to prove that he was probably acting all along. It's all about bravado, you know. And their players have done that this afternoon. Lane, Robertson, they've been at it all day. I wouldn't include that Rooney in that. I would say the rest of them have been acting pantomime villains about it all. I think he's a little bit different. Feel a bit sorry for the lad, because clearly got something going on. Don't know what's happening. You don't know what's happening in people's lives, do you know. But whatever it is, that level of anger that's ready to flip at any moment, you know, I wish him all best with that. You know, maybe you can get some counselling or something, because usually when folks have got that bubbling temper that they can't control, and that aggression and that anger that's so close to the surface that sometimes it doesn't even take anything to set it off. Usually that's from a little bit of hurt somewhere that's locked away in a wooden box and wrapped in chains and hidden away deep inside somewhere, and this fake machismo and trouble expressing his masculinity bubbles to the surface every time. It's all right, well, he can hide it on football pitch, you know, but he needs to get that sorted for when he retires, doesn't he? Because we've all seen them sort of headlines, haven't we? Man in unprovoked attack outside pub who's in hospital. His head's been broken up and on a curb edge from a one-punch attack from a random lunatic. That's where he's heading if he can't get him sorted. And hopefully his club will sort him some out, because, like I say, you don't know what's happening there, but to go off where he goes off, something not right. So, rest of them, pantomime villains, Robertson, Andrews, all them, fair enough, you know, Boehm and whatever, but he needs to sort himself out for his own good, and I hope he does. Their starters are meant to go on. 4 minutes on clock, that would do. Late tackle. I think he probably started making it last week, he was that late. And that sort of set the precedent of what we're going to come all through afternoon. I mean, he could have had probably 9 yellows today with a different referee. Robertson again, he's another one. He's gone through back at Dennis Denneran twice in space of 3.5 minutes. And that's their game plan. Wednesday, probably dominating ball, but the final ball's not there. A lot of stuff's getting cut out, and we couldn't really get Windass involved in the way I'd like. I thought he was good last week. I thought he was finding little pockets of space, but it was finding then. But I thought he was working flanks and getting round. I thought he worked hard first half today, but didn't really get anything into him of any note. And like a lot of Wednesday players, where he did, but we're just short with that final ball. Talked about Rooney, somebody who can't control his emotions and whatever else, and like I said, I hope clubs have safeguarding now for the players, and rightly so. There's a lot of issues surrounding men and the mental health, and hopefully he can get that sorted. But he's at it from first minute, going off alarming. He's on at referee, he comes through a drink of water, he's on at fourth official. Anyway, he's committed probably 4 or 5 fouls today that were all worthy of a yellow, and he eventually gets booked for a foul on Windass right on edge of the box, and he sort of goes in, stamps on his foot. Don't really come to anything, free kick, but then it bobbles back out, shots driven, and ball by Robertson. It's as clear as day, it was just like that. And it's just one of them horrible niggly games where Wednesday's having best at ball, final ball's missing. Now and again we do get in an attacking position. There's a foul or a slide pull or whatever, and referee, who were probably about my height and build, and actually looked it like he got my bleeding fitness and all. He's letting it all slide, trying to be pals with everybody, which you can't be when flat roof pub team turn up. You've got to stamp it out early doors, which he don't. There's a foul on Palmer on near side. Lane, I think it is, just cracks him on ankle. Ball's played on. There's an advantage. I don't know how there's an advantage because they've got ball, but comes that other side, and they get a free kick then for 2 players coming together. Their lad falls on floor. Quick ball down left hand side, whipped in. Overdose and took back stick, and it actually looks like it's dipping in under the bar. Callum Patterson does brilliantly, gets up there, flicks it on sort of behind him towards corner at South and Cop. Great defensive header, absolutely fantastic, you know. And that's it really. It's a game of very few chances. In fact, first half can probably be summed up like this. Second half starts, same way first one ended. 10 seconds on clock, Vela, straight through Palmer. Probably 5 minutes into the game, I'd say probably their best chance. Ball down left hand side, really good cross. Actually, I think it's at Andrews whipped one in. And that Widow sneaks in, gets an header, it's just off at bar. Probably should have done better shot, probably should have scored. Sloppy start from Wednesday second. I'm glad that header didn't go in though, because he was actually offside, which Liner on far side failed to spot. Obviously, referees at this level, liners at this level, piss poor. But Wednesday weren't very good. First 10 minutes, 15 minutes itself, Wednesday weren't very good. They were even more sloppy than they were in first half. They were trying to do things, it just weren't coming off for them. These are needling and niggling. and they've already started with falling over escapade and wasting time, and then that thing when they just pull the sock up as soon as they've got free kick. Oh, it's all that game. Sloppy start from Wednesday continues. They score, Fleetwood. Ball down right hand side, their hand side, our left. We win it and then we lose it back again. It comes in, looks like it's dead. But their lad on edge of D manages to flick it back out to left. Hunt goes to close down, but their lad gets a cross in, and a lad I talked about actually last week, Omochere. I mentioned that I'd be interested to see what he could do up front. I was quite impressed with their kid on right wing, Promise, what was his name, Omochere, something like that. They're not a great side, but he'd just got some little flashes in there, and I thought, well, he could be a bit of a player. I'd like to see what he could do down middle. He was only a young lad. Didn't mean against us, I just meant in general. So yeah, anyway, proved me right on that occasion, sadly. That interestingly though, I thought he worked really. I think they're a poor side, hard working side who'll do what they can to get points in games. All at dark arts that we've seen today, but I do like him, and he's sort of young striker that I think Wednesday should be looking at as we're moving forward into next season and whatever. I mean, in the past we've spunk big money on players pushing 30 and over, big wages. These are sort of players, young players who will just catch your eye. Only might be a minute here and a minute there for some of these other clubs, but there's them little bits of raw talent in there that I think that's what we should be after, not 10 million on roads and bringing Fletcher in on Premier League money and all that. You can't run a business at the division we're in doing that. Darren Moore's getting things in the right direction with sort of players he's bringing in, but I would like to see us bring a forward in that mould, young, hard working, and Kadair in front of him. Banging on about their goal a bit, And they've done something there actually with a goal that a lot of people haven't done. They've scored a goal against Wednesday, haven't they? That ball comes in. It is a good header by their lad, but there's a mix up there because when ball gets recycled out there to the left hand side, he looks marked. And somewhere in there's somebody else coming in right back. Marv and Firmao get mixed up, and it ends up being a free header. And there's a bit of finger pointing there as you'd expect. But to be fair to the lads, that's the first time they've really looked vulnerable for a long time. Scott Brown's down here on their touchline. Againt fourth official loads. In fact, fourth official spent probably 90 minutes stood in their technical area. They were giving him that much hammer. And then referee's getting some. He has to come over and have a word, in fact, referee, and it's going on that much. But if you don't get a grip on things early in the game and you let it go and you let it go and you let it go, like I said, Stella supping pub teams will take advantage of that all day, won't they? 60 minutes. Marv, he's had a good game, Marv, actually. It's not been a great performance from Wednesday, but there has been some highlights in there, and I would say Johnson was one of my highlights. He gave the ball away, but they all did that this afternoon. But he was always available. And he was trying things. And I think the last couple of weeks, what I've seen with Marvin Johnson as well is he seems to be mixing his passing up as well. It's not always the same pass. He's going long, he's going short, and he's put some terrific delivery into the box today. But 60 minutes, ball on edge of the box, he has a bit of a shot. It bobbles out, goes, flips up in air. Callum Patterson, who's had a busy afternoon but no's really come for him, does brilliantly. Chest sit down, back to Wilks, and then just gets out of the way, leans on defender. Wilks comes in, half volley, right foot, just over the bar. And Wednesday start turning its screw because they've had a bit of a sloppy start to the second half. They fall in for some of these tricks and they're getting involved, a bit. But they start turning its screw. Darren Moore, very positive, makes 3 changes, gets Gregory on, George Byers on, Bannon on. But as soon as you've got Byers and Bannon in midfield, and this is not against Adenry or Wilks because they're very good players, and I think Wilks has been exceptional this month actually. But suddenly everything's forward passing again. Bannon, he's got that range of passing, and George Byers, as we know, every time he touches, he's already had a look, he already knows where it's going, forward, forward, forward. And Wednesday start piling forward, and it's a bit of a attack v defence training exercise of a game by end. 70 minutes, Wednesday back in game, no surprise, it's George Byers is heavily involved. Quick footwork, gets away from two men, that Wiradoo comes in, takes Byers out with what must be, I don't know, his 200th foul that game. Quick free kick, Byers and Bannon get it out to left hand side to Johnson, and as I've just mentioned, he's put some real quality into box today, Johnson. On another day he's coming away with 3 or 4 assists, genuinely. Fantastic cross, and Wilks, who's not a natural centre forward, really good play. Makes a run in between two centre halves. One at back thinks man at front should be getting in. One at front thinks man behind's getting in, but he's got his eye on somebody else. And by the time he realises what's happening and he reacts, he gets in there. Wilks is in. So defender Earl comes in, tries to get some on it, volleys it into the roof for his own net. But he didn't really have much choice because Wilks were going to put it away anyway. So Wednesday back in game, and now we're really sort of throwing kitchen sink at it. Well, we're trying to, but they start sitting down and floor all along. It's Earl actually. 2 players going for ball. I think it's him and Johnson down that left hand side. In fact, here it is. It's Johnson. Wilks is in there as well. And that's ball goes out of play. He steps out over touch line. Obviously, he's tweaked his groin a bit, so he sits down. But he's not in park. He's over line when that happens. So he shuffles back onto pitch, on his arse like a dog with worms. Wilks grabs him, get off pitch. You were off pitch when it happened. And Robertson comes over, drags him back on pitch. It's a right farce. Referee, weak as piss, lets him get away with it. And 5 minutes later he's off. No one's disputing that the lad had got an injury. But it's just a manner, isn't it, Deary me. 77 minutes, Gregory chance, little ball down left hand side. Wilks again, I've talked about this, not a natural set forward, but he's got that drift which can come in handy. Henry used to drift all the time, didn't he? You can play different players up front, they bring different things anyway. He drifts out, and it's a lovely first time ball because it's on bounce, and it's an half volleyed crossing. Gregory, it's just not quite in front of him enough for him to attack it. He's got his net back a bit, can't quite guide it. But he shows his intelligence at movement there, Gregory, and he has another chance right at death to win it. 85 minutes, ball down right side. Palmer does brilliantly. Great, it's a chip ball in. Gregory does well. He's got his back to goal. He's just wide at 18-yard line. Knocks it back to Palmer. Looks like he's going to deliver it. He don't. Nudges it on in front of him. Gets past their man. Drives into the box. It squirms out to edge it dear, and Barry Bannon, on as a sub, runs in, leathers it, and fair play to that Robertson, their midfield player, because that's probably the best save I've seen since Gordon Banks against Pele. Brilliant save. A minute later, actually, Robertson gets booked, not for a blatant full diving handball in box. Now he gets booked out on left hand side. So Wednesday throw, he won't give us ball. Marv gives him a little shove it back. He falls down on the floor pretending he's been chinned. Oh, fucking hell, me face, me nose. Referee, he's let it go for 90 minutes. Eventually he's like, oh no, you're a bit of a diving cunt, aren't you? You have a yellow. Well done, ref. Do that in first minute, you might have a decent game to watch. 91 minutes, Wednesday still pressing on. Johnson again, fantastic curl ball in, and Gregory runs to the near post, and it's a superb glancing header right to the backstick. Lynch is absolutely grounded. He's a spectator, dinks off top at bar and goes away, and it's just, sometimes it's not weird, but that would have been a lovely way to finish game in 101st minute. 9 minutes of injury time. I mean, there could have been 45 minutes of injury time with the amount of time they were sat down on the floor. Referee. Wednesday have another attack. They piling for it. And Marv, again, he's just about to put cross into box. And he pulls it back because Firmao's got cramp. He'd not got a clue what he was doing, that bloke. He really hadn't. He really hadn't. So yeah, 100 odd minutes on clock. I think it was 9, weren't it? At 9 minutes injury time. But still enough time for Rooney to get another foul in. This time a blatant foul, and Gregory just throws him on the floor. And well, like I said, hope he can sort him sent out, because go through life like that, gonna get you sent in trouble or get you sent in nick. So it's all gonna replay. Gotta face them again. Not too bothered about that. I've been looking at it. Their away record far better than their home record. I fancy to do them at their place. I know winds whipping in on that coast, but fancies to go there and do it with backing of a great Wednesday away following. But it's just the timing of that replay. Now, as of yet, it's not been fixed in. But with the next round of FA Cup games starting first week of March, there's very few windows for us to be able to squeeze this game in. So it's good. It's probably looking, I would say, probably that week starting 6th of February. So maybe the Tuesday or the Wednesday in there. Wedged in between Plymouth Argyle at home and Ipswich away. I hope I'm wrong, but I've just got a feeling that's when it's going to be. Not ideal. Could have done with finishing them off today, really. But there we go. I've got a feeling it'll be that week, 6th of February. So, the Cup dream for this year lives on for another couple of weeks. Keep your eye out Monday. Ball number 11. Oh, man at match. Man at match, terrible game, but I'll do it anyway. Man at a match. Thought Palmer was brilliant as usual. Them driving runs he's making, he's really added that to his game. He's been really good. I thought Dom Orford had an excellent game against their lad Omochere, because I think he's a real handful. I think he's got a future, and I thought Dom handled him really well. Best I've seen from Malik Wilks so far at club. I thought he was the liveliest player we had going forward in first half. Gets at men, and he played as if he wanted to be out there and prove a point, which that's half a battle with players, I think. But overall, my man at match, it'd have to be Liam Palmer. Strength of strength, kept inside again. Brilliant.